बिहारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरवारदारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरवारदारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यमुनतीरावनचारी। जयो राधमाधवा कुञ्ज बिहारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरवारदारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यमुनतीरावनचारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshu-unmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadhamayam Dadhati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padana Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vanchan Kalpatya Rubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhya Evacha Patitanam Pavnabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna devotees, and welcome to the 7:30 class on Saturday morning on a wonderful occasion of Ekadashi. We are reading Transcendental Diary, Volume 3, Chapter 2. The setting is in Washington, D.C., and on the 8th of July, 1976, it was also Ekadashi. So we have, the setting is very nicely set for us. The devotees took Srila Prabhupada out to a natural waterfall along the river for his walk, appreciating the tranquil atmosphere created by the sound of water flowing and falling. He said that this was the kind of secluded natural spot required for doing yoga. One cannot practice yoga in the midst of the big city, as is done nowadays. So Srila Prabhupada used every opportunity, whether it was time, place, or setting, or person, to teach us what is expected of us. So that particular morning, Srila Prabhupada did a good few initiations, and during the course of his class, he read from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the verse was, actually, I do not know how to inquire about the goal of life and the process of obtaining it. Be merciful upon me. Please explain all these truths. So Srila Prabhupada explained that the process of accepting a guru, and he outlined the disciples' proper mentality in order for the relationship to be fruitful. So this verse was spoken by Sanatana Goswami to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was submitting very humbly, and Srila Prabhupada refers to the Tadvidi Pranipatena Pariprasnena verse in the Bhagavad Gita. All pranipata, first of all pranipata, then pariprasna. So the questioning follows after the acceptance of the Guru or the submission to the Guru. So don't waste your time by questioning some spiritual master or somebody unless you have pranipata. You must be ready to accept the answer that he gives. Then make inquiry. If you think that I have to test his answer because I am more learned or more advanced than him, then don't go there. Don't propose or inquire anything. But Sanatana Goswami, he completely surrendered to Sri Chaitanya Prabhu. He said, I am blank. I don't know actually how to inquire. And this kind of reminds me of myself, honestly, in the beginning of Krishna consciousness, and I used to hear Srila Prabhupada say that it's intelligent to ask questions and to inquire. And I used to wonder, but Srila Prabhupada, I don't even know what to ask. I don't know what should I be asking? I'd never have even thought that I should ask, am I this body? Am I the soul? I'm so clueless. I don't know what to ask. So I also, in a similar way, just kept very quiet because I thought, as Srila Prabhupada said, when a fool opens his mouth, then he becomes known as a fool. So I very quickly kept very quiet and listened attentively when the devotees speak. So that was my escape from being shown as a fool. So I just want to dwell on this, the role of surrender in spiritual growth. So the highlight of that particular part we just read was that Sanatana Goswami very humbly approached Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the core message that we get from that is surrender and humility. Those are the prerequisites for receiving spiritual knowledge, which is almost the opposite to having gone to university and those kind of places where you actually are encouraged to challenge and you're encouraged to write papers with your theories and submit these papers which get published. And it so muddies the water that after a while you actually realize that you're not learning what you should be learning. And this has now become a revelation to people in the world where they're being told that certain things are facts. And we will read that in Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Diary. So I just wanted to ask if there were any comments at this point, if there's anything that you'd like to talk about in terms of the spirit of surrender and how we can maintain humility while navigating through our daily lives. Radhika Jivan Prabhu, please share with us something. Radhika Jivan Prabhu is actually the epitome of humility. That's how I see him. And he never greets until I greet him. And I sometimes used to wonder if he was testing to see if I knew his name. So I quickly learned his name. But if you have anything to share with us, Prabhu, you are someone I look up to in terms of imbibing qualities like humility.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
When we speak of surrender, it sounds easy, but to actually surrender, it's not easy. It's a process. And my personal realization or experience on surrender is best to try and do some service. And according to Prabhupada and the temple authorities, Mahata or something like that, is to try and do some service. And that will help you to surrender. Because often when we see devotees, we may think, or when we look at ourselves, we may think we surrendered, but you'll find we'll be doing things that we are not really meant to be that we are meant to do as devotees. So our surrender is like there's a big question mark over our surrender. I always try, from my experiences, try to do service, even if we are full of material desires and things like that. But that service is maybe for 1 hour. It's 1 hour of surrender. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing. So as we make our way through Srila Prabhupada's day, that day Srila Prabhupada gave a short interview to a TV crew from Channel 4 and a freelance television reporter, Janice Johnson. You might have heard of Janice Johnson previously. The Channel 4 interviewer asked what Srila Prabhupada's view was on the current state of affairs in the world and the role of his movement in it. Srila Prabhupada responded by telling him that the people have no knowledge of the fact that they are the soul and not the body. So at the present moment, the human civilization is a very risky civilization. So in order to save them from the state of ignorance, this Krishna consciousness movement is essential. It is not a sectarian religious movement. faith, or sentiment. It is actually a scientific movement. There are many scientists present. They are also taking very seriously about this movement. So we invite all important men to contact us and try to understand the basic principle of this movement, how to elevate the human society to the proper standard of life and become peaceful from this life as well as in the next life. So Srila Prabhupada makes his way through this interview, and I think the message I take from this is that this lady, Janice Johnson, the reporter, she was probingly questioning Srila Prabhupada, and the kind of questions she was asking was, is this your first trip to Washington? Where have you stayed while you're in America? Why are you living in such lavish surroundings if materialism is not so important? And Srila Prabhupada, with his always quick wit and good humor, responded, and he said, is this for you? Because you cannot sit cross-legged, we have to arrange this couch for you. So, Srila Prabhupada has always adjusted whatever he had to do, including the incorporating of women sitting on the Vyasasana. This is not something that was accepted in India and is not accepted in India. Srila Prabhupada took great risk in creating the International Society for Krishna Consciousness and giving us these wonderful opportunities to serve. So we are extremely fortunate. Sometimes I feel that the residents of India are the most fortunate because they're born in the land of Krishna. But we are so fortunate that Srila Prabhupada has given us the liberty to serve, to do Guru Puja. In Vrindavan, you can't do. I learned to set the flowers because the Matajis, they take so seriously the setting of the flowers because that's the only duty they can perform. And they take it so seriously. So they go and elaborately decorate Srila Prabhupada's Vyasasana with the flowers. And that's really what I brought back from Vrindavan, is how beautifully they decorate Srila Prabhupada's altar. And then, to talk about balancing the material comfort, so-called comfort, with the religious or spiritual focus. So this reporter was probing Srila Prabhupada, and so what if he made them sit on the floor? They're not used to sitting on the floor. Firstly, many of them won't come if they know that's the kind of setting you're going to provide. And even if they do come, they're going to be uncomfortable. And if you're uncomfortable, then you generally don't listen. So you don't take the knowledge, or you don't take the content. So, so that was such a wonderful way that Srila Prabhupada responded, in a humorous tone, but still making a very important message that the material arrangements must always support and not distract from spiritual growth. So if that we provide the chairs and not expect us to sit on the floor, is not that we are surrendering to the material needs, but we are supporting the spiritual growth by what material sort of resources we have. Like Srila Prabhupada always talked about the microphone, and he said the microphone is just a microphone. But in Krishna's service, it becomes such an important tool, because then everyone can hear, and it's through the microphone we can record. And those recordings we know of Srila Prabhupada, which now is being celebrated for his 50th anniversary to South Africa, is being recorded put onto USBs for video and for audio, and it is becoming one of the most decadent tools and gifts we can receive in ISKCON. So it's wonderful how Srila Prabhupada handled the probing questions, and how he very nicely, retaliated and stood his ground nonetheless, that he was not supporting materialism. He was completely supporting spiritual growth. So the members in the room were, amongst others, Swarup Damodhar, And the members of the institute that were present for the interview, they stayed on afterwards to finalize a few things with Srila Prabhupada. And this institute was the institute of how life exists on the planet. And they have many theories about that, including the Big Bang. So Swarup Damodar indicated that they would like to start out their preaching by producing their book and journal. That would be the initial phase, and our feeling is now this institute at the beginning is some sort of research institute. And we are doing it right now, writing something, collecting some information from other sources. It looks to me like it's research-oriented. Srila Prabhupada says, no. One thing is, research means, again, mental speculation. But our research is different. So Swarup Damodar said, people will understand that it is another type of mental speculation, Srila Prabhupada told him, but ours is not that. We take it as absolute truth. So now you need to convince them. Rupanuga assured him that they did not intend to advertise themselves as a research institute. Research, Srila Prabhupada said, means that it is not known. You are trying to find out. But our Krishna's position is not. It is already known. So there again, Srila Prabhupada is very categoric, and even if there's any doubt with his closest disciples, he clears that doubt up very properly, very correctly, and very, not sharply, but very thoroughly. So Srila Prabhupada is well aware of the power of words, and he is able to understand how to articulate his words to get the message of the Vedas across. And I think what was, for us, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, the most wonderful and sometimes almost funny realizations is that Srila Prabhupada is so eloquent in the English language. He is actually very powerful in the use of the English language. And Srila Prabhupada, he used every tool available to him. So he used to sit with the dictionary next to him, and he used to translate using the Oxford Dictionary, and he used to make sure that he understood the word and that it made sense in context. And often, sometimes, well, not often, but sometimes he would find words that in Sanskrit he could not find a translation in English. So, for example, the word dharma, which we know is our constitutional position and duty, but everyone's called dharma religion. And Srila Prabhupada also challenged and pointed out that that was not entirely correct. So here he's defining a word called savigyanam, in scientific knowledge or with scientific knowledge. And Srila Prabhupada is very categoric. He says to Swarup Damodar Prabhu that is how the basically their presentation at this institute should be called, savigyanam. And they wanted to say vigyanam because vigyanam means in practice. And Srila Prabhupada said, no, vigyanam actually means theoretical. But in real practice, you say savigyanam. So that was for me a quick learning, because I too, after reading Bhagavad Gita, I also thought jnanam and vijnanam. So jnanam was knowledge and vijnanam was practical. But it actually, according to Srila Prabhupada's discussion with the devotees here, savigyanam is actually meaning in practice, and vijnanam is the theoretical. So jnanam is pure knowledge, it's just knowledge in general. So he left the devotees to make their decision on how to proceed on that matter. So there again, just like Krishna would give us that level of independence, Srila Prabhupada also gave a bit of independence to his disciples, where he corrected them to a fair extent. Like if you go to the bowling alley, and then you could put up those guides, or you could take the guides off and then let them just bowl. And maybe sometimes they'll go into the alley and lose the ball and lose any opportunity. But hopefully we get back to bowling correctly. In the situation with Srila Prabhupada, he always gave the devotees some sort of degree of freedom, but he always cautioned them about that freedom, as Krishna did in the Bhagavad Gita, where he says, this is the knowledge I'm giving you, you can take it or you can leave it, because you have the choice to leave it. And you can also interpret it how you like it, but this is how I am saying it to you. And that is, I learned last night, is actually a huge act of love. Because Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita that you should surrender unto me and I will give you all protection. Right? But he does not force us to do that. Shri Shri Radha Radha Nath ki jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Shri Gaura Hari ki jai, Jai Srila Prabhupada. So basically, Srila Prabhupada is giving that level of freedom as Krishna did. And what I really, really appreciated about His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj's book, Srila Prabhupada's Kirtan Standards, is that it actually brings us back to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada always said to the Western devotees, you like to change everything. And that is our tendency. We change the tune, we change the speed, we change the pace, we try to tweak everything, we change the way the flowers should be said, we change everything. And that for us is I think it's a form of sense gratification, because it gives us some sort of pleasure and then it sustains our doing it. So we should be a little careful about changing things. And I think what that book did for me is that it was a huge gift, because if there's anything I, as a follower of Srila Prabhupada, wants is to know exactly how Srila Prabhupada wanted us to do it, and how he told his devotees to do it, how he showed them to do it. And it was a beautiful book. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm very grateful to Jayadvaita Maharaj for that book. So Srila Prabhupada had a letter that day as well, and the letter was written by, it had come in the mail about the last 2 days, and Balaventa Prabhu had sent his GBC report for the Southeast Zone. He thoroughly detailed each temple by size, activity, and finances, and enclosed beautiful pictures of Gaura Nitai deities at the Mississippi farm and some news reports on the Tennessee farm. His assessment of almost every place was optimistic and filled with superlatives. So most beautiful, most invigorating, especially when he described the farm projects. In Tennessee, he said that 23 devotees are rapidly progressing toward self-sufficiency. They have produced 6,000 pounds of wheat, corn, and vegetables are growing, and rice will be planted soon. He said that the cows give milk abundantly, and he predicted that within 1 or 2 years, only animal-drawn machinery will be used. Their program is so developed that the first completely self-sufficient Vedic village in the Western world will be established. He also said that the devotees were hankering for a transcendental name for the community. In the New Orleans and nearby Mississippi farm, another 25 devotees are regularly executing devotional service. He gave an enthusiastic description of the New Orleans Yatra. The Brahmachari ashram is very strong here. They are like a transcendental army of 15 dedicated men. They do everything together. They eat together, they sleep together, they rise and attend the morning program together, they chant japa together and go and distribute books together. They are regulated, disciplined, humble, and thus very happy. I think that this should be the standard for brahmachari life in every temple. His only concern was there were only 3 brahmanas to worship the 7 deities. So I looked at that and I thought, wow, that is a beautiful, picture of perfection, of having everyone so synced and so aligned, and that is somehow just the recipe for peace and I would say even the word prosperity, in terms of your growth of spiritual culture. And the highlight I picked up was that the disciplined life of the brahmacharis in New Orleans was most commendable, and the core message is that this regulated life enhances spiritual progress and creates inner satisfaction. So I thought that was really deep and it settled very nicely inside of me. And we, if you think about a regulated life, which is what the devotees essentially live, because from the time you wake up, you are being reminded of your service, and your service is a regular event. So we are Vaidhi Bhakti, we follow certain regulative principles. So our life is very regulated, but we don't actually acknowledge how much value that regulation has actually given us. Because that regulation of activities means that we are less anxious because we know what we're going to do. So this Donald Trump guy, he wears a red tie all the time because he doesn't have to be bothered about what color to choose the tie. Many people spend a few hours selecting what they're going to wear for the week or whatever the case may be. So he's a red tie, silk, cotton, whatever, that's the tie he'll wear. So it takes away that sort of noise from dressing up and getting ready and getting started with your day. So in a way, we can be very grateful for our regulated lifestyle, because we get up and we know exactly what we're going to do. And yes, we have a lot to do, but we know what we're going to do. We know how we're going to do it, and we know where we're going to do it. So in a way, our life is quite standard. It is quite organized and therefore peaceful, compared to what we have out there. I think take a minute, because in the temple scenario, especially if you're not making your way into a mall every so often like I have to, and into the material world as deeply sometimes as I have to, then you don't appreciate the serenity and the comforts of being in the temple environment. Maybe you do, and you're very sweet about it. But it is actually a beautiful blessing. So you're very fortunate. And then I just want to talk a little bit about Srila Prabhupada challenging the scientists. So he goes on, and the disciples actually asked Srila Prabhupada. So initially they started off with this word research, and then he knows that at some point the scientists, they used to challenge. They used to say, no, prove, experiment, do experiment and prove to us that this is how it works. So Srila Prabhupada was so quick, and he said, yes, you can take experiment and you can show them. And he talked about the Bose experiment that was done. So in India, the big scientific family there, and also pharmaceuticals, the Bose that Srila Prabhupada also had some of his career with, they had devised this tool that could figure out how a plant is feeling when you either cut it or you spoke to it, and through the signals that they got oscillating on the machine, that told them the kind of anxiety level or the happiness level of the plant. And so Srila Prabhupada encouraged the devotees to go to India, pick up the equipment and take it to this so-called Institute of Life, or where life arises from, um, experiment and talk that they were going to do. So Srila Prabhupada was very clear. He didn't want the devotees to go there and be subjected to discussions about chemicals causing life, because he was categoric. He said, well, if someone is claiming that life comes from chemicals, then please take the chemicals, take a very basic creature, figure out what chemicals are causing it to exist, and put those chemicals together and bring that creature to life. And so, as Srila Prabhupada talks, he also, in a way, he mocks them and he says, you cannot do this, which means that then the frog or the creature that we are deciding to take is actually more intelligent than you, because he can make another one like him, but you cannot. And the reason he can is because it is the will of God, not because it is our will. So our will is not going to give us anything. So the soul is superior to matter. Life originates from spirit, not a combination of chemicals. And that is Srila Prabhupada's, I think, very big discussion with the scientists. And that way his disappointment in science was, I think, the most, where they were so much insisting that life comes from chemicals, and they could eventually prove that that was the case. So Srila Prabhupada also replied, to the devotees that he was talking to, that were saying that they have so much now produce on the farms and the milk that they had, and what could they do with it? And Srila Prabhupada was so quick, because he didn't waste any time in giving them answers. He said, immediately take the extra milk, make ghee, and ghee is gold. Gold is Lakshmi, and you can use that. And if you sell ghee, you're going to be very, very successful. So convert that into ghee. He encouraged them to use the products that they have on the farm to either establish a restaurant or to even trade with the local suppliers and others, so that they could get what they didn't have. And in this way, Srila Prabhupada answers every question. He answers the question about life and where life comes from. He answers our questions about who Lord Krishna is and how to attain him, which is the most complicated and complex, answer in the world. And he also is able to tell us what to do with the extra milk. So he's amazing. He's full in everything. He is actually the most amazing individual. He's the most amazing of living entities. He's the most wonderful Guru, and we are so fortunate to have Srila Prabhupada as our leader. So in summary, and the text goes on for a long while, there's 14 pages of it, and we can read a bit more if you like. But I think what the messages that I picked up from the text was that the key points is to approach spiritual life with great humility and surrender. And Radhika Jivan Prabhu just indicated that surrender is a journey. It is a very difficult process. It requires us to detach from something that we've been attached to for many, many lifetimes. And we find ourselves sometimes oscillating between surrender and attachment to the material environment. And this sometimes can be almost exhausting as a devotee, and I find myself sometimes in that situation where I wonder if I'd ever get out of this bowl. I don't know if you know the story about the crabs, but the crabs have this kind of syndrome. When you have a bowl that people have collected crabs in, and this bowl has some sort of a depth, then one crab will try to claw his way out. But as soon as the other crabs see him clawing out, then they would grab him and pull him back. And in life, you find that situation happens. Someone will say to you, yeah, but if you close the business, what are you going to do? And if you donate so much money, you're going to have nothing for your later years, and all these kind of things. So people always give you this kind of worry and anxiety. So long story short is, it is a journey. It is sometimes a very titillating journey, and that's why you need the company of the devotees, because the devotees, they help you to be strong. They help you to be focused. They give you a single mindset, and that is Krishna. So satisfaction of the Guru Maharaj, satisfaction of Srila Prabhupada, and attainment of Krishna. So that is really why Srila Prabhupada created ISKCON. So we have a society. So we have this relationship. We have this association. We have this constant nurturing and guidance, and we are given opportunities to read and to present on Srila Prabhupada, like I'm given this opportunity now. And by that, please, so if I have in any way spoken the incorrect thing, please guide me, please give me the feedback, because that's all I need. I don't want to be left to go down the wrong path. So we have to have humility. We have to be able to stand corrected and continue to surrender, even though it is a journey and sometimes a difficult journey. Then the second key point I have is to seek genuine advice and to use your intelligence when seeking that spiritual guide. So we can just come and expect things to be given to us. And yesterday I listened to a YouTube short of Srila Prabhupada explaining, that the Guru can give you everything, but you have to then take that information and make your spiritual life an advance. So you can be given books, you can be given lectures, you can be given even process, but if you don't institute it, then it is like you not have it. So it is so important for us to practice, and Savigyanam is ultimate. That's what Srila Prabhupada wanted. He wanted us to practice Krishna consciousness. Make it our daily lives, make it a lifestyle, make it a way that we communicate with one another. And he always said, we love to talk, but if we talk and if Krishna is not in that talk, then it's just prajalpa. It's just nothing but gossip, yes. So, he always cautioned us. Srila Prabhupada always gave us the pitfalls of life and helped us to keep our spiritual growth steady. The other one was the balance of material life. So yes, material life, we don't want to be attached to it. And it's so hard to not be attached, because if your child phones you and asks you for something, then you tend to leave what you're doing and you then attend to it. You want to give them every comfort. You want to make them successful and able to deal with the difficulties of this world. So I know on many occasions, both my children had left home to go and study, and I used to always, whenever I was worried about them, I would say, Lord Nishringadev's Pranam, and then I used to still worry, and I was like, okay, if you're really going to say Nishringadev's Pranam, then you should stop worrying, because if you either have faith in him or you don't, So it's a big challenge, and you have to grow. But your material life, it should support and not hinder your spiritual growth. So that is an important takeaway for me, is use whatever I have in material life to support spiritual growth, not just for myself, but even sometimes you have to do it very silently for those around you, because some of those around you, they don't want it, or they're not ready yet. So you have to actually quietly give it to them. Recognize the soul's superiority over matter. That's Srila Prabhupada's subject of the scientists. And adopt a disciplined and purposeful lifestyle. And I was saying earlier that, Srila Prabhupada talked about the independence that Krishna gives us. And if Krishna forced us to love him, that will not be true love. So when he asked us to surrender, Sarva Dharman Parijya Mam Ekam Sarinam Vraja Aham Sarva Papa Bhyo Moksha Yasyami Ma Sucha. So Krishna says like that. But he never says, but you must, if you don't, I will kill you. Or I will not help you, I won't be your charity, I'll get off and I'll go my own way. He didn't say like that, he stayed. And he even said, if you want it, take it, if you don't want it, leave it. And that is love. It's like, and we see it in our daily lives. We would give our children a bit of advice and and we'd say, okay, you know what, that's my advice, I've been there, I've done that, I know what you're going to end up with if you continue on that path, but nonetheless, take it or leave it. Because that is love. Because you don't say, oh, if you don't take it, then you're not my son anymore. You don't say like that. So I actually had that very huge penny drop yesterday. A huge penny drop. I know that sounds like a contradiction. But when I read that, and Srila Prabhupada explained that Krishna loves, and that's why he will never take away that independence, because the devotees were challenging, if Krishna loves us, then how come he's giving us this independence which is making us do the wrong things, but yeah. So that is the main points that I pick up, and I'm happy to hear any of the points you'd like to make, or any comments or any corrections. All okay? In which case, Hare Krishna. Please join us for Ekadashi breakfast.